His glory. So today I will be teaching you how to do a sunset over the mountain range painting. And what we're going to do is, because I always like to tie our paint to a theme from God's Word, so I'm going to be reading to you from Psalms 121 today. So if you happen to have your Bibles out, please feel free to use your smartphones, or if you've got the actual printed word, that's even better. So we can read together Psalms 121. I will lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to slip. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade on your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will protect you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will guard your going out and your coming in everything that you do, from this time forth and forever. Amen, amen. So the reason that I selected this psalm is because, as I said, we will be doing some hills. So as we're painting those hills, let's just keep this in mind, that our help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. So today, what we will be doing is actually a sunset in purple tones over a mountain range with a reflection in a lake. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the brushes that we're going to be using today. I like to use a range of brushes, and the first thing we do is we lay in our background colors. So even if you've never painted before, you can visit probably just like your local dollar store. We have Dollarama up here in Toronto, so that's where I get a lot of my brushes from. These brushes are from a professional art store, so if you've got one that's actually open in your area, we're still in lockdown. So I just visit my neighborhood dollar store and I get everything that I need there. So you'll need a big brush, and that is to lay down your background colors, so things like your sky, your sea, or in our case, lake. And then you'll need a mid-range brush or a medium brush, something about this size. And that will be to do the smaller portions of our painting. Today we won't be doing much fine detailing, but for that you would use your smallest or your finest edge brush. So we're going to be using mainly two brushes today, so very easy, very simple. The other thing you're going to need is a ruler and a pencil. And that is because I find it's easiest, especially if you're just starting, to actually draw in where your horizon line is. That's very important. And we'll also be drawing in where our mountain range is going to be. Don't worry about the pencil marks. You don't want to press too hard so that you're leaving a very defined line, but the paint will cover over those pencil marks. The other thing that you're going to need is tissue, and that is to drain off any excess water on your brushes. And I love to recycle, so I use styrofoam trays. So I get these from fruit and peppers and herbs and things like that. So I reuse these as my palettes. Now, palette just means anything that you use where you put your paints on, so that you've got a surface to work with. So this is what I use for putting my paints on. So these are my little styrofoam palettes. You can also get professional palettes from art stores, or, as I said, from your local dollar store. The other thing you're going to need in this painting is lots of water. Again, as a big recycler, I use my yogurt tubs. So I guess I'm advertising here for Astra yogurt. But so I just reuse these tubs as my water holders. We're also going to be using quite a few colors today. Now, I mentioned to you that I get mine from the Dollarama. I should say that these are what we call acrylic paints. So the beauty of working with acrylics as versus something like oil paints is that if you make a mistake, you can always let your acrylics dry, and then you can just cover it over, no problem, easy peasy. So today we're going to be using lots of black, lots of white, and because it's a purple sunset, lots of purple. And we're also going to have a few little touches of other colors in there. So today I've also got pink, We're going to use a little bit of green, some orange, and some blue. So you're probably thinking that's a very interesting color scheme you've got going on there, Nicole. So, but I'll show you. It will all come together. So I hope you're enjoying my music in the background and it's not too loud. I've got some inspirational music because painting should be relaxing. It's what you do to de-stress. And I think having some worship music while you paint is a wonderful way to just sort of get your mind focused on things that are lovely, things that are pure, things that are of good report, right? As the Bible tells us to do. So we're going to get started. You've got your canvas. Again, I actually got these from the dollar store. They're just like about $2, $3 up here. If you really want good quality canvases and you want your paintings to last for a while, for a few years, you should get them from the art store where they're primed. That means that they are pre-painted, and that way you don't get the paint soaking into your canvas and your colors getting muted over time. However, for this purpose, and again, because it's better to be safe than sorry, I'm not going to go out and look for canvases all over the city. So I'm going to stick with my neighborhood Dollarama, and I've got my dollar store canvases, and they're going to work just as well. You've got your ruler. So we're going to draw in our horizon line. Now remember, as I said, that you just want to do a light line. And you want to draw your horizon line, I would say about 2/3 down the way of your canvas. There we go. The next thing we want to do is we want to draw in our mountain range. Now, when you think of mountains, remember that mountains don't just undulate up, down, up, down, right? They tend to have ridges, they tend to have little dips, little valley areas, if you want to put it that way. And the tops of the mountains are not always going to be uniformly curved. So when you're putting in your mountains, think sort of craggy. All right? You're going to have little hills. So what I've got is I've got the highest peak over here. I've got some lower peaks in here, a dip, and then I've got another high peak over on this side. Now, because if this is your first painting, we're also going to be doing a reflection of that. So then you want to come down here about an inch or so, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to do sort of just a rough outline. You're not going to be able to get it perfectly, exactly the same, but that's okay, because what you're trying to show is that you've got your reflection happening here. Okay, beautiful. Good job. All right, so now we're ready to get started. The first thing you want to do is to take your big brush, right? Hope you've seen that. And we are going to dip our brush in the water. I would recommend for this painting that you have 2 tubs of water. The reason for that is because you're going to be using quite a bit of black, and you don't want your water to get dirty for when you're dipping for other colors, because the color of the water can affect the saturation of the other colors on your brush. So I'm just going to dab off my excess because we don't want it to be very drippy with water. Then I'm going to start with a bit of purple and black. We're going to start layering in our sky color, and we're going to do a few different shades of purple here, and then we're going to leave roughly, and I could probably draw this in with my pencil too, we're going to leave roughly about an inch over our mountain range, and this is where our sort of sunset colors are going to be. So you're going to have almost sort of like an oval shaped area here all around your painting, where you're going to see the reflection of your sky in your lake and the reflection of the last remnants of sunset, if you want to put it that way. So to get started, we're going to start with a bit of purple and a bit of black. We're going to put our darkest colors to the top and to the bottom. So I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to use quite a bit of purple. And roughly a quarter that amount of black. And the reason is because black is the kind of color that takes over every other color. So unless you want to end up with pure black, you want to take it easy on your black. And sure enough, there it is. It's taking over my purple color. That's okay because we do want that initial color at the top there, which will be framing our painting, to be the darkest color. So we're going to just come up here like this. You can paint around the edges as well. Gives it more seamless, makes it more seamless. And you want to bring that color all the way across your canvas. You know, that's one of my favorite Psalms, and I'm sure it is for you as well. It's such a reassurance of God's love and His care for us, His protection over us. And especially in times like these, you know, where we're facing this worldwide pandemic, it's reassuring to have God's word that lets us know that He is taking care of us day and night. So whenever you feel probably a little stressed or a little anxious, it's always good to get into the Word of God, get into the Psalms especially, because David's heart's cry always, I think, reflects our own. The human condition has not changed. We still feel fear, we still feel anxious, anxiety, stress, you name it. And I think David really has captured the human experience and our longing for reassurance that God is looking out for us and that He cares for us. And David always tends to end his Psalms with that hope and that optimism and just that knowledge that as much as he was going through difficult times, God was there for him. And so we know that He's the same yesterday, today, forever. So as He was there for David, He's there for us as well, even through what we're going through right now. All right, so we've got our base color down. I've just made it sort of like an arch, and we're going to blend that in. But first what we're going to do is we're going to come down here and we're going to do the same thing at the bottom. So this is what we call an art appreciation class, because as I mentioned before, not a professional. Just got a little bit of, a love for art. And the best place to go to get started, honestly, is YouTube, because YouTube has a ton of artists who have very easy to follow paint tutorials that make it so simple. They go step by step, just like we're doing here, and you would be surprised at what you can create just by following the instructions and just being, brave. Brave about it. There's really nothing to be scared of. Grab some paint, grab a canvas, and just, follow some instructions, and before long you've got something beautiful that you can be proud to show friends and family. Oh, I probably should have let you, you're probably wondering, why do I have all these strange colors on here? And the reason is because, again, being a recycler, what I do is sometimes I cover over paintings that I've done before. So, maybe ones that didn't turn out quite the way I liked, or, there was a mistake in it. So I had a choice. I could either fix the mistake or I could cover it over and do something new with it. So in the name of recycling today, I decided to cover over an older painting. So that's why you've got all these strange colors happening. But you would and should start with a clean white canvas from your store. All right, so we've got our base color down here. Now try to remember where your reflection is of your mountain range so you don't cover that over. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a bit more purple to our black mixture, because now I want the next color that I lay out to be more purple. If you feel like you've got too much black on your brush, you can just rinse that out, and you can then apply your purple paint to it. And what you're looking for is a blend, right? You want to blend that up. And to blend, all you need to do is just very gently draw your brush over your canvas. You want to be very, very subtle with it. The harder you press, the more defined the lines will be, the lines of demarcation, and then you'll be able to see where one color started and the other began. You really don't want that. You want to have a nice, seamless blend. So just very gently draw that over there. Draw your paintbrush rather. If you draw some black down with it, don't worry about it. That's all part of the blending as well. And you can draw your purple up into the black area as well. Because as you know, the sky very rarely is one color, particularly at sunset. So you'll see splotches of different colors mixed in. Hope you're enjoying the music. It's very relaxing, isn't it? Okay, we're good. Now we're going to do the same down below. Again, remember where your reflection is, and you want to stop just about an inch above where you've got your mountain reflection drawn in. I hope you can see the base here as well. I've got an excellent camera guy, so I know that he's taking care of you guys, making sure you can see everything you need to see. I think he's the most handsome cameraman in the world. He's my husband. And again, what you're looking for is blend, blend, blend. Very gently. Then what you're going to do is, if you've got a little bit of purple left, or if you need to get a bit more like I do, just a little dab there. And we're going to add some white to that, and that's going to turn our deep purple into sort of a more violet color. And again, the key to that is blending. Now remember where you've got your demarcation there, your little cutoff point, right? Because we're going to put in some other colors in there. So my brush started to get a bit dry, so I just added just a touch of water, and that's to help spread the paint. If you love the color purple, this is for you. And I don't mean the movie, but it was an excellent movie. I feel like quoting Whoopi here, all my life. No, it's not Whoopi. Is it Whoopi? Yeah, it's Whoopi. Forgot for a moment there. All right, so you want to get that lovely violet color kind of mixed in there, blended in. Make sure you get all your canvas covered here. So we're going to come back to our sky in a bit. Well, we're just going to let our purple blending here just kind of dry a little bit. And remember that we've got to do the same thing at the bottom because this is our reflection. We can add a tad more white to the bottom because the reflection, of course, is not going to be as saturated or as deep a color. If you have any questions, just make sure that you just put them in the comments, and I'll be happy to take a look, take a break, and take a look at your questions, and I'll be able to answer them as we go along. I'm going to just add again a touch more water just to help it blend and spread a bit. So most of the paintings that I do, again, I should say I follow a lot of YouTube artists. And so this one I did see on YouTube. I don't quite remember who the artist was, and I really should have paid more attention to that so I could give them their credit. If you happen to come across this on YouTube, please let me know who the artist was, so at some point in time I can make sure that I let you know who did this first. So this is a variation of something that I did see on YouTube. And like I said, there are many very good artists who are giving paint tutorials on YouTube. A few of them I can recommend, like the Art Sherpa. That's S-H-E-R-P-A, Art Sherpa. And also Stay Creative, also very good. There's also Paint with Shiba, Paint with Shiba, that's S-H-I-B-A. And as we go along, I'll also be doing some paintings inspired by their work as well, so that you can get a feel for what their style is like. Very good and quite simple to follow. So all I'm doing now is I'm just sort of blending these colors here. I have to use a bit more paint than maybe you would on yours because of course I'm covering up a painting as well. Ideally what you want to do is, if you are going to cover over a painting, is you want to use white or some sort of neutral tone, something like that. However, with this one, I had planned to do something in blue and then I changed my mind, so that's why I've got this extra work to do. Now, you see, I've done what I told you not to do and I've covered over my reflection here, but that's okay. I'm going to come back in later and put in the sunset colors, and I've got a vague idea as to where my mountain was. That's what happens when you talk and paint. So what we're going to do now is we are going to work on our mountain range. For that, we're going to need more black. We're going to need the most black here. So you want a good amount of black, like maybe about 2 tablespoons if you want to use baking measurements. I love to bake. Working on getting the perfect cookie recipe, chocolate chip cookie recipe. So if you think you've got a good one, feel free to share it with me. We've come pretty close, I think, you know, and I'll tell you what, the secret really seems to be adding brown sugar and using butter. Not, I can't believe it's not butter or any of those other substitutes. It really does seem to make a difference. Chewiness, a chewy texture. Yeah. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put in our mountain range. Now remember, we're going to be reflecting it in our lake. So just follow, come over here. Just follow the lines that you drew in earlier. If you wanted to, you could use a thinner edge brush to do your outline, and then you can fill it in later. You want to get a really fine edge here. You want to come down and do the same thing here. There we go. Brush this in. Now what you want to do is you want to, on your top mountain, you're going to go with the pure black color. And then for this part, the reflection, we're going to add a touch of white, because again, the reflection will not be as saturated as the original object. Unless of course your water is like super clear. Remember where your horizon line is? There we go. And this is, you know, very easy. Just fill in your mountains right now. There we go. Beautiful. Now I'm going to add, as I said, a touch of white to my models. So we're going for sort of almost a dark gray here. A little darker than that. As near to black as you can get without it being as dark as your top. Yeah, there we go. As we go along. Great. So I know right now it kind of looks more like a blob than anything else, but we are going to do it later. So actually we could address that right now. So what we're going to do, we're going to get a bit of gray going, dark gray, just a tone lighter than what we've got. So I'm actually going to use my ruler for this because straight lines and I don't always get along. I'm going to use the edge of my brush, and this is just to define the horizon line again on the side here. Left. There we go. So now you can sort of see the difference between sky and lake. Sorry, mountains and lake. All right, so I think that's probably the only black we're going to be needing for today. So you can rinse out your brush. The key thing to remember is when you are rinsing out your brush using soap, or you're just rinsing with clear water, don't leave your brush in the water soaking like for hours or even overnight. And the reason for that is because the top of your brush, and I'm going to show you, the top of your brush, see this little metal bit here? This is attached to the wood handle with glue. If you leave this soaking like this, you leave your brush soaking like this in water overnight or for hours, the glue actually loosens, and what you end up with is that your brush head comes off, and then, you know, it's just a hassle to have to work with. And I'm going to show you a prime example. This happened to me. Now, and this is my favorite brush, but I, you know, getting started didn't know better, and I left this brush soaking, cleaning it, and actually what I was doing was making the glue get loose on the inside. So now I have to crimp this every time that I want to use this brush. So save yourself that hassle, folks. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start putting in some of these sunset colors. Now you could just as easily have brought the purple all the way down to your mountain line and up on here to your lake line, and yeah, you could say that you're finished, but we're going to add a bit more colors and coloring there. What we're going to do now is sort of a pale tangerine color. So I've got my orange here, and I'm just going to mix it with a bit of white. Oops. Shake up your paint. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it to just about a few centimeters above. So I'm going to leave sort of a little white rimmed outline around my mountain. Orange, of course, is a very strong color as well. So you may need a fair amount of white to tone down if you want to get that sort of pale tangerine color that I was mentioning. Because you're looking for softer colors here. Okay, so I think that's lovely. So I'm just going to come in here. And I know it's now it looks like there's such a sharp difference between our purple, our violet color here and our orange, but we're going to come back in with a little bit of purple and we'll blend that out. So I'm going to just come down to just about like a centimeter here. And we're going to bring this color to about halfway across here. See, we're going to get some lovely, interesting colors going here. Mr. Cameraman, how are we doing there? Are we still recording? He says we're all good. So we're just going to bring it, like I said, to about halfway. I guess it's more like 2/3 of the way. And we're going to leave this area blank because we're going to put in a few more colors here. But actually what we're going to do is we're going to drag some of that tangerine color all the way across to the top, but leaving some space for some other colors to be in there. And we'll be blending those colors. So you want to do the same thing, of course, in your reflection. Add a touch more white to that so that it's even a lighter shade, so closer to this color. And remember to leave that little centimeter, half a centimeter there of white. Hello and welcome to here. This is where you're only going to do sort of closer to the top there. So we are about we're more than halfway through this painting, actually. The last thing we're going to do is some palm trees. So I hope you like palm trees. I traditionally have found them a bit challenging to do. I'm just adding some water now to get that blend. And yep, there you go. And this is why your tissue is a good idea to have on hand. So I had a little bit too much water. And all you do is just dab that out. There we go. Yeah, so I was saying that palm trees are lovely to look at. They can be a little bit of a challenge to paint, but they're actually so beautiful, I think that it's absolutely worth the effort to try them out. They're not that bad, really, to draw, you know. There are other trees that are a bit more challenging to paint, so. All right, good. So we've got our orange color. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a touch of pink to our orange color. So to that light tangerine that we've got going on here, we're just going to add a teeny weeny, just a drop of pink and a drop of white, because we don't want, because that pink I've got there is like neon pink. It's super pink. So we don't want it to take over our painting. We just want a nice kind of blended color here. Yep, got a lovely kind of salmon thing happening here. And I'm just going to bring that in here. Look how beautiful that is, huh? Just blend that out. You can even bring it back a little bit. And that's just lovely. Bring it up a little bit. vision to see just like you do. I look to you, you're where my help comes from. All right, and we need the same color at the bottom. Always remember your reflection. All right. So we're doing pretty good. How are you doing it? You're able to follow along. If you happen to have paints at home. But you can always once this video is posted, you can just come back later and get yourself all set, and you can paint along with me. So, all right. Now we're gonna add a color here that might seem a little bit odd. I'm hoping that this works out. We're going to do a little tiny bit of green and then a little tiny bit of blue over in this corner. So I'm just going with just one drop of green paint and about 2 drops of white, because I want this to be a very, very, very pale color. So I'm just going to go with the barest hint of green at top. Right in there. There we go. And that just blends in beautifully. I'm going to bring this all the way down. And remember at bottom, and now I'm going to do the same with my blue. So I've got here, this one's called Copenhagen Blue. It's a bit of a darker blue than primary blue. So it's, let me see, hopefully I can show you the color. I'm just going to do 1 drop. Come on now. There we go. 1 drop of that. Not sure if you're able to see that. And again, to 2 drops of white. You just want just sort of the palish shade of this blue, whichever blue you decide to use. And this is going to be the color that we bring down here. We're going to just blend that in. just going to blend that in here. It's just going to add this lovely little accent to your color scheme. Isn't that lovely? Same below. And you can even bring up a little bit here. Let's get some blending right here. So remember, everything you do above, you do below. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to come back in here because you can probably notice that the orange is not blended in very well with the purple. So I'm going to go for 1 drop of purple. I'm going to do 1 drop of orange, and then I'm going to do white. 2 drops of white. I'm going to mix that together. And then I'm just going to come back in here. Get this. I'll blend it out. I'm going to bring that color across. Just very gently. I'm going to use a touch of water because I'm looking for sort of a soft effect here. And there you go. So now you've got something that's a little less harsh. And you're good to go with this as is if you're looking to just maybe practice, doing just sort of a mountain sunset over, the mountains. But as I promised you palm trees, so we're going to work on that. What I'm doing now, I'm just blending this in, just bringing sort of like little clouds into these areas here. Doing the same thing with the water below. As above, so below. Taking a little bit of purple here, and it's just to get the blend a bit more seamless. All right, now I'm just using the edge of my brush. All right, there we go. Okay, I think it's looking pretty good. What do you think? Just adding some little touches of purple here and there. All right, so what we're actually going to do now is we are going to put in some stars. And for that, you will need your fine brush. So maybe we'll add in the stars at another time. I think what we'll do right now is we'll work on our palm trees. Now our palm trees are going to be in the corner over here, and what we're implying is that there's land on this side. We don't actually have to draw in the land. We're just going to draw our palm trees up like this. We'll be using our black for that because we're doing silhouettes. I'm going to be using the edge of the brush and just coming up like this. They would be, of course, fuller at the bottom than at the top. I'm going to cross my palms like this. Just really. For the tops, we're going to sort of do kind of like an umbrella formation here. Over like this. That one was a bit thick, but that's okay. Also with the edge of your brush, you're now going to put in your leaves. If you do have a thin brush, that's good for this part. Remember, your palm has leaves on both sides.